I mean, it's just a penny, right? But hold up. What if I told you that one penny, the 1988 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.5 million? Yeah, you heard that right. $2.5 million for a penny. Now, before you go digging through your couch cushions, let me walk you through this crazy coin mystery, and who knows, you might just have a treasure hidden in your change jar. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know everything about this penny's value and how to spot one in the wild. What makes the 1988 no-mint mark penny special? Okay, let's start with the basics. Now, when you think of a penny, you probably imagine the ones that have a little D or S on the back, right? That's the mint mark showing where the penny was made. D is for Denver, and S is for San Francisco. But what if there's no mint mark? That's the magic we're talking about today. A 1988 penny with no mint mark, produced in Philadelphia, is super rare. These little guys weren't supposed to be made without a mint mark, but somehow, through a serious case of oops, a few slipped through the cracks of the US Mint. And when I say slipped, I mean these pennies have become worth more than a lot of us make in a lifetime. Section 2. How rare is it? Now, you might be asking, how rare are these pennies? Well, according to some coin experts, there are fewer than 10 of these bad boys in circulation. That's right, less than 10. And the thing about rarity is, the fewer there are, the more valuable they get. Kind of like that one friend who always has the best snack at the party, and you want to make sure you get in line before it's all gone. It's the same principle. Once it's gone, and the price goes up. The 1988 no-mint mark penny is the holy grail of pennies for collectors. If you find one, you're looking at $2.5 million on the high end. Seriously, that's no joke. These things are like the unicorns of the coin world. The story behind the $2.5 million penny. But how does a penny get to be worth $2.5 million? Well, here's where the story gets interesting. A few of these rare 1988 no-mint mark pennies have sold at auctions for some pretty insane amounts of money. In fact, one was sold for over $2.5 million. No, that's not a typo. Imagine having a penny in your pocket that could buy you a luxury car, or pay off your mortgage, or just make you the envy of all your friends. That's how big the stakes are in the coin collecting world. How to spot a 1988 no-mint mark penny? Now, I know what you're thinking. How the heck do I find one of these magical pennies? Well, I'm here to help you out. The first step is obvious. Look for a 1988 penny. Then, check the back of it. If there's no mint mark, no D or S, then you might have a winner. But hold up, it's not as easy as just finding a regular penny without a mint mark. You need to make sure the penny isn't a worn-out counterfeit or a regular Philly-made penny. The real deal will have a sharp, clean design, and the edges should be crisp. You can also look for some details like the shine, the feel of the metal, and if it has any unique markings or irregularities. So, here's a funny story for you. A while back, I was sorting through a jar of pennies I had lying around. I thought, maybe I've got a treasure here. So, I started pulling out 1988 pennies one by one, examining them like I was Indiana Jones uncovering a lost relic. Fast forward, I find a 1988 penny with no mint mark. My heart starts racing. Is this it? Is this the $2.5 million penny? I hold it up to the light, check the edges, then I realize, oh, I was looking at the wrong side. It's a regular Philly-made penny, nothing special. Classic rookie mistake. But hey, it was fun while it lasted. Alright, so you think you found the golden ticket, huh? It's important to get an expert to confirm that it's the real deal. The best way to do that is by sending it to a reputable grading service, like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. They'll check it out, grade it, and if it's legit, you could be looking at a small fortune. Trust me, if you've got one of these pennies, it's worth getting it professionally authenticated. Now, if you're out there hunting for rare pennies, there are other ones you should be on the lookout for. We're talking about things like the 1955 double die penny, the 1943 copper penny, or the 1970 small date penny. These, too, are worth big bucks, and I'll bet you didn't even know about half of them. I'll be doing more videos on these guys soon, so stay tuned. The 1988 no-mint mark penny is an absolute treasure if you happen to find one. It's a rarity, worth a potential $2.5 million and a real gem for coin collectors. If you find one, don't just throw it back into your jar of loose change. Get it authenticated and see if you're sitting on a small fortune. If you enjoyed this video and you're ready to learn more about coins worth money, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on all the tips, tricks, and coin collecting strategies I've got coming your way. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Who knows? Maybe the next video will help you find your own million-dollar penny. You're cleaning out your grandparents' attic or digging through that box of loose change you've had stashed away forever, and you stumble across something that seems like any other penny. But hold on. It's not just any penny. It's a 1982 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and it could be worth up to $2.6 million. Yes, you heard that right. That tiny coin, the one you might just toss in your pocket without a second thought, could make you a small fortune. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this little penny is so valuable, how to spot one, and what you could potentially do with it if you ever find one in your collection. So, let's jump in. You're probably thinking, wait, how on earth does a penny, one of the least valuable coins in circulation, end up being worth millions? Great question, and I'm glad you asked. Let's break it down. So, the 1982 penny is an interesting case because that year, the US Mint made a bunch of changes. For starters, they switched from copper to a copper-plated zinc composition. The problem was, a mistake happened during the production of some of these pennies, resulting in some pennies missing the mint mark that usually tells you where the coin was made, like Philadelphia or Denver. Now, most pennies from 1982 either have a D for Denver or no mint mark at all, indicating they were made in Philadelphia. But in the mix of all this, a rare batch of pennies didn't get the mint mark, which is where the magic happens. These no mint mark pennies are super rare. You see, collectors go crazy for mistakes like this. It's the perfect storm of rarity, historical value, and just plain good luck. Most of us can't even imagine how much something like this could be worth. But when the penny was first discovered, it didn't have an immediate stamp of worth millions. It took time for it to gain recognition, but now, the value is through the roof. Value of the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. The real kicker here is the price tag. The value of a 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? We're talking up to $2.6 million if you happen to have one in mint condition. That's right, $2.6 million. So, the next time you're just chilling with a jar of pennies, don't be too quick to toss them in the coin jar without checking, because that little piece of copper, or zinc, technically, could change your life. But, wait a minute, what exactly makes this penny worth so much? It's not the composition, and it's definitely not the fact that it's a penny. What makes it valuable is its rarity and the fact that it was a minting mistake. So rare, in fact, that it's one of the holy grails for coin collectors. This is one of those needle-in-a-haystack situations. Alright, enough of the backstory, let's get to the good stuff. How can you tell if you've got one of these million-dollar pennies? Here's the deal. The key feature is the absence of a mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. Now, the 1982 penny is going to look pretty much like every other penny you've ever seen. Except, it's the missing mint mark that makes it stand out. Normally, on pennies from Philadelphia, you'd see a tiny P on the reverse side of the coin. But the 1982 no mint mark? Nada. Nothing there. It's a sneaky little bugger. And it's not just the lack of a mint mark that makes it valuable. If it's in perfect condition, you're looking at a coin that might be worth even more than $2.6 million. But here's the thing. Finding one of these in mint condition is like finding a unicorn in your backyard. You've got to be super lucky. Now, I've got to tell you a story that really hits home for me. A few years ago, I was going through an old box of coins that I inherited from my grandmother. It was full of loose change from the 80s and 90s, mostly pennies, nickels, and dimes. Nothing special, I thought. But one day, I decided to go through it just for fun. 'Cause why not? And here's where it gets wild. I found a 1982 penny, no mint mark. I was so pumped at first, thinking, could this be it? Could this be the legendary coin? But of course, after a closer look, I realized it wasn't in mint condition. It had some wear and tear, and wasn't going to fetch me millions. It was more like $1 at best. But hey, I felt like I was holding a treasure for a brief moment. Always take a second look at your pennies. They might not all be worth millions, but there's a chance that one might surprise you, just like it surprised me. Alright, so now you know the scoop on the 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. It's rare, it's valuable, and it could make you a fortune if you happen to have one sitting around. But, like any good treasure hunt, it's all about keeping an eye out for the unexpected, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next person to uncover a coin worth millions. Go dig through those coin jars, check those old change cups, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more tips on finding coins that are worth serious money. You never know what treasure is hiding in plain sight. And hey, if you've already found a coin like this, or just want to share your coin collecting stories, drop a comment below. I love hearing about people's discoveries. Catch you in the next video, where we'll dive into more hidden gems in the world of coins. Don't miss it, and if you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Trust me, there's so much more to discover when it comes to valuable coins. And I've got the insider tips you need to get ahead. What if I told you that a penny, a coin that most of us probably toss around like it's not even worth our time, could be worth $2.6 million? Yeah, you heard me right, $2.6 million. It sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what's happened with a 2006 penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a penny. How much could it really be worth? Well, sit tight, because by the end of this video, you might just find yourself digging through your spare change. Grab a cup of coffee, or if you're like me, a snack. Maybe even a bag of pennies, and let's dive into this crazy world of coin collecting. So, here's the deal. In 2006, something strange happened at the US Mint. While most pennies that year were stamped with the traditional mint mark, a few got out there without one. No D for Denver or S for San Francisco. Just a blank spot where the mint mark should be. Now, you might be thinking, okay, it's a mistake. Who cares? That mistake is what makes this penny so valuable. And by valuable, I mean the kind of valuable where you could sell it and buy a house, a car, and maybe even a vacation home on the beach. I mean, seriously, who knew a penny could be worth more than some people's entire yearly salary? Let me explain. The 2006 no-mint mark penny is an error coin, and like any rare error coin, it catches the attention of collectors. Think about it. How often do you find a coin that's supposed to have a mint mark but doesn't? Hardly ever, right? That's what makes this penny stand out like a sore thumb, and it's exactly what makes it so valuable. It's so rare that collectors are willing to pay big bucks for it. In fact, if you manage to find one of these rare pennies in your pocket change or at a yard sale, you could be holding on to something worth up to $2.6 million. I'm not joking. The most expensive 2006 no-mint mark penny ever sold went for that insane price at an auction. And before you say it's impossible, let me assure you, it's not. There's a very real chance that there are still more of these out there waiting to be discovered. But how do you know if you have one of these elusive pennies? Well, here's where you need to get your detective hat on, because it's all about the details. First, look for the year. It has to be 2006, no earlier, no later. Then, inspect the penny carefully. You're looking for the absence of a mint mark. Most modern pennies will have a D or an S on them, which stands for the Denver or San Francisco Mint. But if there's no mint mark, that's your clue that it's a potential jackpot coin. Now, here's where I'll share a personal story with you. A while ago, I was at a flea market. I'm a sucker for a good flea market find, by the way, and I spotted a jar of loose pennies. You know the kind, just sitting there with a sign that says 50 cents for the jar. Now, I'll admit, I wasn't expecting to find anything amazing, but you better believe I was digging through that jar like a treasure hunter on a mission. As I was sifting through, I pulled out a few 2006 pennies. I almost tossed them back, thinking they were just, well, pennies, until I remembered this exact story. I pulled out my magnifying glass. Yes, I carry one with me now, and inspected each coin one by one. Sure enough, one of them was missing the mint mark. Now, I didn't think it was worth $2.6 million, sadly, but I had a mini heart attack in that moment, thinking I was holding on to a future lottery ticket. Long story short, I didn't strike it rich that day, but I learned a very valuable lesson about paying attention to the small stuff. Coin collecting isn't just about rare coins. It's about paying attention to details that could change your financial future. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how do I cash in on this 2006 no mint mark penny? Here's the thing. If you think you've found one, do your homework. It's not just about finding the coin. It's about getting it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Once it's authenticated, you can either sell it through an auction or find a buyer who's looking for that exact coin. Just remember, these pennies are extremely rare, so don't expect every 2006 penny to be worth millions. But hey, even if your penny's only worth a couple $100, that's still more than the face value. So, there you have it. The 2006 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could potentially be worth $2.6 million. But it all comes down to luck, timing, and knowing what to look for. Keep your eyes peeled, and remember, coin collecting is a treasure hunt that could pay off big time. Before I go, if you've learned something today, or if I just made you feel like a coin expert, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips on coins worth money and strategies to level up your collecting game. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Who knows, your next penny could be the one that changes your life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully with a treasure chest of coins. Alright, imagine this for a second. You're at a yard sale, you're sorting through a jar of loose change, and bam! You find a coin that could make you richer than your wildest dreams. Sound too good to be true? Well, buckle up, because we're talking about the 1988 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, this little guy could be worth more than your car, your house, and maybe even your college tuition combined. That's right, $2.7 million. Million with an M. So, before you rush off to check your spare change drawer, let me tell you all about this coin, why it's so valuable, and how you might already have one of these bad boys sitting in your collection. Okay, let's break this down. The 1988 no mint mark penny is no ordinary penny. Normally, pennies have a mint mark on them, indicating where they were produced. But for some reason, don't ask me why, maybe it was just a mistake, or maybe someone in the mint was having an off day. The 1988 penny came out with no mint mark. Yeah, that's right. A little hiccup in the production line and boom. Suddenly you have a coin that's worth millions. Now, the mint mark is usually located on the reverse side of the penny, right underneath the date, and it tells you whether it came from the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, or the San Francisco Mint. But the 1988 no mint mark penny? That was supposed to have a Philly mint mark, but it didn't. This little oopsie turned out to be a huge deal in the coin collecting world. Here's where the story gets really interesting. You're probably wondering, how much could one of these things really be worth? Well, in 2017, a 1988 no mint mark penny was sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $2.7 million. That's right, million. Now, don't go running to your change jar just yet. Not every 1988 penny without a mint mark is worth that much. It has to be in pristine condition. So, if you've got one of these in your collection, you need to check the condition. We're talking about a coin with no scratches, no dirt, and no wear and tear. Basically, a coin that looks like it just rolled off the minting press yesterday. If it's in that good of shape, you could be holding a piece of history. Now, before you get too excited and start digging through every penny you find, let me tell you a personal story. I remember the first time I thought I'd hit the jackpot. I was at a flea market, and I found what I thought was a rare 1943 steel penny. I was practically shaking with excitement. I took it to a dealer, told him my find was worth thousands, and he just looked at me and said, "Buddy, that's a common find. It's worth maybe $1." Talk about a letdown, right? So, here's the thing. While there are plenty of pennies out there that could be worth something, you need to really know what you're looking for. And believe me, not every rare coin is actually rare. But if you get lucky, and you find a 1988 no mint mark penny that's in top-notch condition, you could be holding something that's worth a small fortune. And here's another tip. If you're serious about coin collecting, don't just look at pennies. There's a whole world of rare coins out there that could surprise you. Old dimes, nickels, quarters, you name it. It's all about knowing what to look for, and that's where I come in. Because I'm here to give you the inside scoop on which coins are worth money and how to spot the ones that could make you rich. So, if you've got a jar of pennies lying around or you're scouring yard sales and flea markets, just keep in mind that a 1988 no mint mark penny could be worth a fortune. But remember, It has to be in great condition, and not every one of these pennies is going to be worth millions. But hey, it never hurts to check. If you want to keep learning about coins that could make you money, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss out on tips, tricks, and coin collecting strategies. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming up next. And hey, who knows? The next big find could be in your pocket. I have a story to tell you that's going to make you look at your penny jar a whole lot differently. Imagine this. You're rummaging through your change and bam, you find a penny. Not just any penny, though. This one's from 1985, but it's missing something crucial, a mint mark. Sounds like a no-brainer, right? It's just a regular penny. Or is it? Well, I'm here to tell you that this little penny could be worth a whopping $2.9 million. Yep, you heard me right. Almost $3 million for a coin that was once floating around in your pocket. So, how do we get here? And why are we talking about a penny? Let me take you on a wild ride through the world of rare coins, missing mint marks, and what to do when you find one. Stick around till the end. I've got a cool tip for you on how to spot these hidden treasures yourself. Alright, let's get into the heart of it. You're probably wondering, what in the world makes a 1985 penny worth nearly $3 million? Well, here's the deal. Every coin the US Mint produces typically has a mint mark. That tiny little letter tells you where the coin was made: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But what happens if there's no mint mark at all? That's where things get interesting. In 1985, a batch of Lincoln pennies was struck in Philadelphia with no mint mark, something that wasn't supposed to happen. This is super rare, which is exactly what makes these pennies so valuable. They're considered an error coin. And if you're lucky enough to have one, it's not just a random penny. It could be worth a fortune. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sure, but how do I even know if I've got one of these magical pennies? Good question. The first thing to check is the date. If it's 1985 and there's no mint mark under the date, hold on tight. But just to be clear, not every 1985 penny without a mint mark is worth millions. Condition matters too. The coin needs to be in great shape, ideally near mint condition. If it's all scratched up and dinged from being tossed around in your pocket for 30 years, the value might drop significantly. Let me tell you about a time I thought I hit the jackpot. One morning, I was at a yard sale, just browsing around, nothing fancy, and I spotted a jar full of coins. I thought, why not? I'll take a look. I started flipping through, and there it was, a 1985 penny that looked a little different. My heart raced, and I almost ran straight to the seller with a handful of cash. But then I did a quick check. The coin had some wear and tear, and no mint mark. After doing a bit of research, it turned out it wasn't an error coin, just a regular penny. I still got it for $1, though, which I thought was a good deal at the time. But if I'd found the right one, mint condition, missing mint mark, I'd be telling you a very different story today, huh? The point is, don't jump the gun too fast. You need to be careful, and maybe, just maybe, you'll stumble upon one of these rare error coins that make you rich. Now, let's talk about market value. You might be asking, why is a coin from 1985 worth so much money? The truth is, the value of coins like these is determined by rarity, condition, and demand. There aren't many of these 1985 no-mint mark pennies out there, and even fewer in pristine condition. So, when a coin does pop up at an auction, collectors are willing to pay top dollar to get their hands on it. In fact, one of these pennies was sold at auction for nearly $2.9 million in 2018. Yes, that's not a typo. Almost $3 million for a single penny. Insane, right? You can't help but think, I should have checked that jar of change my grandma left me. These coins aren't easy to find. They're incredibly rare, and the chances of stumbling upon one in your pocket change are slim. But hey, it's not impossible. That's what makes the hunt so exciting. And let's not forget the satisfaction of finding a rare coin that no one else has noticed. It's like being part of a secret club, only your club has millions of dollars in it. Okay, so how do you get started looking for these rare error coins? The first step is to start paying attention. Don't just toss your pennies in a jar. Check them out, especially the older ones. If you've got a collection of pennies from the 1980s, take a few minutes to look at them more closely. Look for anything out of the ordinary. The key is knowing what to look for. And even if you don't find a $2.9 million penny, you might still find something worth a pretty penny. If you've got a 1985 penny with no mint mark, hold on to it. But don't just stop there. Get into the habit of looking at all your coins carefully. You never know what you might find, and who knows, you could be holding a small fortune in your hand right now. Coin collecting is about more than just the money. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of learning, and the excitement of discovering something that not many other people know about. So, next time you're at a garage sale or sifting through your coin jar, take your time. That $2.9 million penny could be waiting for you. If you want more tips and tricks on how to find coins that are worth big bucks, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on what we'll cover next. We've got tons more valuable coin tips, strategies, and stories coming your way. Have you ever thought that your loose change might be hiding a small fortune? No? Well, after today's video, you're going to start looking at those pennies in your couch cushions a little differently. I mean, imagine finding a penny that's worth $2.8 million. Yeah, you heard that right, million with an M. Let me tell you about the 1989 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. This little guy isn't just some old copper. Nope, it's a true treasure. And if you're lucky enough to find one, it could make you a millionaire. Stay tuned, because I'm about to break down why this coin is so valuable, and I'll share a personal story that will make you wish you had checked your change more carefully. Alright, so first things first. You're probably asking, what the heck is a 1989 no-mint mark penny? And why is it worth a cool $2.8 million? Great question. Let's dig into it. Back in 1989, most pennies were made at the US Mint, and each penny had a mint mark on it, right? That mint mark tells you where the coin was made: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Normally, coins from the Philadelphia Mint will have no mint mark at all, but in this case, the 1989 penny is a bit of a mystery. You see, during the 1989 production, the US Mint accidentally left off the mint mark on some of the pennies that were produced in Philadelphia. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, that's just a small mistake, right? Nothing to get excited about. Well, that little mistake turned out to be big money for some lucky collector. You see, a normal 1989 penny is worth about 1 cent. That's it. But if you've got a 1989 penny with no mint mark, bam, you could be holding something worth millions, depending on its condition. The key to this coin's value is rarity. The error was so rare that it took years for collectors to even realize it was a thing. Now, let's talk about the $2.8 million penny. Yes, in 2018, an exceptionally rare 1989 no-mint mark penny, in pristine condition, sold for $2.8 million at auction. I mean, you could buy a small island with that kind of money. Who wouldn't want to trade a penny for a piece of land and a private beach? Not all 1989 no-mint mark pennies are worth that much. To get top dollar, the penny has to be in near-perfect condition, what coin collectors call MS 65 or higher. The shinier, the better. So, while it's unlikely that every 1989 no-mint mark penny will make you a millionaire, it's definitely worth checking your coins for any signs of this rare minting error. Now, let's pause here. I've got to share a funny story. I was at a coin show last year. Just me, a bunch of other collectors, and a whole lot of pennies. And guess what? Some guy walked in with a jar full of pennies. No kidding, a jar. Everyone thought he was just another guy trying to get rid of his loose change. But the guy was smart. He had done his homework and was convinced that there were a few rare ones in there. Long story short, after a little digging, he found a 1943 steel penny worth $1,000. And that's when I realized, you have to check your pennies. So, moral of the story? Don't just toss them into a jar. You might have a hidden gem just sitting there, collecting dust. So, let's wrap it up. That 1989 no-mint mark penny might just be sitting in your coin jar right now, waiting to make you a millionaire. Just remember, not all of them are going to be worth 2.8 million bucks. But if you've got one, keep it safe, get it checked, and who knows, you might just have a piece of history and a big paycheck on your hands. If you want more tips on coins worth money, collecting strategies, and how to spot hidden treasures in your loose change, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more coin secrets to share with you, and I promise I'll make it as fun as finding a rare penny in your pocket. You're cleaning out your grandma's attic, or maybe you're at a garage sale and you find a penny. Not just any penny, but a 1966 penny with no mint mark. And you're like, it's just a penny, right? Wrong. That little copper disc might just be worth, well, let's say, enough to make you double-check your pockets. In fact, it could be worth a cool $1 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1 million. So stick around because today, we're diving into the mysterious world of the 1966 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny and why it's worth way more than you probably think. How on earth is a penny worth $1 million? Well, my friends, grab a chair and a cup of coffee, or a glass of water, we don't judge. Because this story is going to take some interesting twists. Okay, first things first. What makes the 1966 penny so special? A regular 1966 penny should have a mint mark, right? Well, here's the kicker. Some 1966 pennies were struck without the mint mark. And if you've been around coins for a while, you know that missing mint marks are like the holy grail of the coin world. It's like finding a four-leaf clover in a field of threes. Sure, there are a few lucky ones, but they're rare as hen's teeth. You might be wondering, how does something like that happen? Well, in the 1960s, there was a little bit of chaos going on with the US Mint. They were shifting their production processes around and making a few changes in how things were stamped. Apparently, a batch of 1966 pennies came out of the Denver Mint without a mint mark. And that's where the magic happens, folks. These little errors are the reason collectors lose their minds over them. And trust me, when collectors go wild, so does the value. The 1966 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is considered a major error coin, and one that can go for serious cash in today's market. All right, I know you're dying to hear the numbers. Hold on to your hats, because this penny can sell for up to $1 million at auction. A penny, people, just one little coin that was probably tossed around in your change jar or lost under the couch cushions. To make this real for you, one of these bad boys fetched a jaw-dropping price at a recent auction, a cool $1 million. Let that sink in. Now, before you go running to dig through all the pennies in your collection, let's talk about what you should look for. Because, let's face it, not every penny from 1966 without a mint mark is going to be worth $1 million. No, no, no. There's a little more to it than that. These pennies need to be in mint condition, with no wear, tear, or excessive corrosion. So, if you find one that's been through a car wash or spent too much time in your dad's coin jar, it might not be the $1 million ticket you were hoping for. Speaking of digging through pennies, let me tell you a little story about my personal experience with a much less impressive coin discovery. A few years ago, I was sorting through a box of old coins I had inherited from my great-uncle. I remember being super excited, thinking I'd struck gold when I found what I thought was a rare coin. A 1955 double-die penny. I felt like a coin collecting king, ready to retire at 30. But after getting it appraised, the dealer was like, it's a nice piece, but not a rare variety. Turns out, my rare coin wasn't the double-die variety at all. It was just a well-worn regular penny. So, yeah, I had to swallow that disappointment. But the lesson? You gotta know what you're looking for. And that's why we're here, my friends, so you don't make the same mistake. Let's say you do stumble upon a 1966 penny with no mint mark. How do you know if it's worth something? Well, first off, look at the date. The 1966 penny without a mint mark will show no D or S on the reverse side, below the date. Then, check the condition. The best ones, of course, are those in uncirculated condition. But even if you find one in decent shape, it could still bring in a pretty penny, pun intended. And as always, get it appraised by a reputable dealer if you're unsure. They'll tell you if you've got a treasure on your hands. But don't just stop there. There are other coins from the 60s and beyond that are also worth checking out. You never know. You might find yourself sitting on another gold mine. The 1966 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is a true rarity, and it could be sitting right under your nose. If you ever come across one, make sure to check it carefully. You could be holding on to a coin worth a small fortune. Now, before I let you go, if you want to keep learning about coins that are worth big bucks, and the ones that aren't, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more tips and tricks. I'll be sharing even more coin collecting strategies to help you find the hidden gems in your collection. Now, I know you're here because you've probably heard about this insanely rare coin, the 1991 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and you're wondering, How on earth can a penny be worth $1 million? Well, buckle up because this is going to be a fun ride. But first, I've got a quick question for you. Who here has checked their pocket change recently and thought, nah, it's probably not worth anything? Pause. Well, I'm here to tell you. Sometimes your pocket change is a whole lot more valuable than you think. Let me explain why that 1991 penny you might have just tossed in your jar could be worth a small fortune. All right, let's talk about this penny. If you don't know what makes it so special, don't worry, I got you covered. In 1991, the US Mint accidentally produced a batch of pennies without a mint mark. Now, that may sound like something small, like a little oopsie, but let me tell you, in the world of coin collectors, this mistake is huge. And when I say huge, I mean this penny is now worth around $1.1 million. Yeah, you heard that right, million with an M. But here's the thing. These pennies didn't just fall out of the sky. They were produced in large quantities, so most people have probably tossed them aside without realizing their true worth. Now, if you're one of the lucky few who's found one, congratulations. And if you haven't, well, I'll tell you exactly what to look for, so don't go tossing any more coins just yet. So, how did this happen? Well, in 1991, the US Mint was producing pennies in Philadelphia, but somehow, a batch slipped through the cracks that didn't have the usual D or S mint mark. These mint marks are crucial because they tell collectors where the coin was made. Philadelphia, no mint mark. Denver, D. Or San Francisco, S. Without the mint mark, this penny became a true anomaly. It was like finding a unicorn in a field of horses, except the unicorn is a penny and worth $1 million. It looks like any other 1991 penny. That means it has the standard design featuring Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Nothing fancy, until you notice that no mint mark on the reverse side. The value. As of today, these coins can fetch around $1.1 million at auction. Why? Because of their rarity and the fact that they're a complete mistake from the mint. But not every 1991 penny is worth that much, so you need to know what to look for. The value can vary based on the condition of the penny. Coins that are in mint or near mint condition, meaning they have no scratches, discoloration, or wear, are going to fetch the most. If yours is tarnished or beat up, it may not get anywhere near that $1 million mark, but hey, it could still be worth something. Now, I can already hear some of you out there thinking, I've got a jar of pennies at home. What are the odds that I've got one of these rare coins? Well, funny story, that actually happened to me. A couple of years ago, I was going through my own jar of change, sorting through a mess of pennies, dimes, and a few nickels. I thought, why not? I'm gonna check if I have anything rare, even though I really didn't think I would. And there it was, a 1991 penny that had no mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. I thought, this is it. I'm rich. But after doing some quick research, I realized my penny was so scratched up, it might as well have been part of a construction site. Not exactly the $1 million kind of condition, so while I didn't strike it rich that day, I still learned an important lesson. Always check your change, folks. You never know when you could have a $1 million penny hiding in plain sight. And speaking of checking your change, here's what you need to know about spotting these rare coins. Look for that no mint mark. 1991 pennies from the Philadelphia Mint should have no mint mark. The problem is, you might have a hard time telling just by looking at it, especially if it's worn or corroded. But don't worry, it's all about inspecting those pennies closely. It has to be from 1991. If it's not, then don't even bother. But trust me, it's worth looking because who knows what else could be hiding in that jar of yours. Keep in mind that rare coins like these can fluctuate in value depending on the market. The $1.1 million price tag I mentioned could be different a few years down the road, so always stay updated on the latest auctions or sales. Alright, folks, I hope you now have a newfound respect for your pennies, and not just because they can change your life financially. Sure, most pennies are worth only 1 cent, but some are worth a lot more. If you've got a jar of pennies sitting around, I highly recommend giving them a second look. You never know. You could be holding onto a gem that's worth a fortune. Even if you don't find that $1 million coin today, there are still plenty of other coins out there that are worth much more than their face value. I've got more tips and tricks for you, so be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos about coins that are worth a ton of money. Who knows? Your next coin could be a game changer.